Yo, just before this video gets started, I'm sorry this took a little bit longer than I wanted to. The video's a couple minutes longer than I wanted it to be. I lost my notes during the video and I just kind of rolled with it. These are all just something I pre-recorded, like I think it was Thursday or something, and my computer's been acting weird. I ordered a new GPU, which I think is the problem, and that comes in tomorrow. So I couldn't re-record this, so it is a little bit longer, but I am slowly trying to get better at making my videos shorter and get more to the point. Like I said, I've only been doing YouTube for about 3 weeks now, so I will get better. But other than that, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Yo, what is up, guys? My name is Illusive, and today we're going to be talking about some simple tips that might help you with ArcheAge Unchained. These are mostly settings, UI helping, just small little tips that as a new player who's never played ArcheAge might need to know, or returning players who don't remember, or people that have never played an MMO before. Just some helpful tips that you guys might like. Going over some keybinds, UI placement, some small settings, and just such like that. Just a quick little video. Now for the keybinds, note that keybinds are personal preference, and you are going to have to get used to them the longer that you play, and it just takes a little bit to get used to them, and it's muscle memory. So just because you use a certain amount of keybinds, you're not, best in game. That's not how it works. But there are some keybinds that might be easier for you to press, that are harder for me to press. So it all depends on personal preference. But we're on a semi-new account or a character here. So what we're gonna do is head into the options. Now, if you are playing on a 65 or a 144 hertz monitor, you are wanting to go full screen for more combat. It's just how the hertz works. So that's going to do that, as well as for I lost my okay. Now multi-thread rendering, you'll want this enabled if you have multi-threads on your CPU. Just if you want to figure that out, just Google your CPU and then figure out your thread. I was just making sure. It threw me off that it was saying a PC with 3 or more CPUs. That's why I kind of stomped right there. But okay. Directs, so with DirectX 9 and 11, some people say that they have better performance on DirectX 9, some people say at DirectX 11. This is just something you want to test out and see which one works best for your PC. Also, whenever you first get an ArcheAge, it has max FPS restrict enabled. You just want to turn that off, or if you do have 144, max you want to do is 144. So you don't really need that too much. Now yours will automatically be in action mode, which the furthest you can go out in action mode is this. If you are wanting the wider field of view, you will need to go to wide view, and you can zoom out like much further. This is helpful in raids to have it zoomed out more, but you don't really need that. That's just personal preference. UI settings, normally your UI is about this big, and I am not a person of, I don't like big UIs, so I usually turn mine down to 80%, and it's about this small, which is still pretty good. It's enough to see. And then now with the quality is just really what you want to do. Now if you're having trouble with frame rates, disable shadows. As you can see, the shadows aren't that much of a difference in graphics quality. Yeah, you can tell, but it's not that much of a difference, and honestly I like the game better without shadows. I know that's weird, but personally I like it without shadows. It just feels, I feel like it plays more into the ArcheAge art style. But now that's mostly what you want to do, and you can turn down shader detail as well, if you do have shader on. Turn down depth of focus if you want depth of field off. And now for the sound settings, doesn't really matter. Now for the game settings, this is something that you can do. If you don't rebind Control V, what you can do is hit Control V and it'll change the health bars. So if you're faction v faction, you can change it where it'll say what alliance you are. You can also press it again and it will go to the box one, which I personally think is better for the combat, like just regular PvP. Now for the name info, don't really need to do much here, but for the game info, if you are wanting numbers on your health bars and enemy health bars, you are going to want to turn on health and mana stats under game info. Also, I would suggest keeping these checked: show buff duration, show targets cast bar, show damage breakdowns and skill tooltips. You also want to, personally, these are just my personal, I turn these two off and close the tutorial and view the frame rate. Now if you're someone newer, keep the tutorial on just for a few little things. Now you can do show skill combos. Now for this, now I would suggest if you're getting into PvP, this is something that you want turned up. You want this all the way up to guild. So if you're in a GVG, it'll show the damage / heal info up to the guild. So if your guild is fighting someone and does damage, it'll show the damage they're doing or the healing, and that just helps a little bit. Now you can turn that down to raid, or hell, you can even turn it down to party if you want to, if you don't want to see other players' damages. I personally just like having it a little bit higher for the heal info. Now for the damage heal info distance, I turn it all the way up. As well as one thing at the very start, what you want to do is turn this up to unlimited for the quest details. That way you see quests on the map all around. It's not just like right next to you, so that's something that helps out in the beginning as well. Another thing for game info, we're done here. Now here's something that's kind of personal preference. Now I suggest turning off double tap jump to deploy glider, and then this is what you can do. Now I will show you guys in a second. Actually, I'll show you real quick. If you go into the basic under your skills tree, which is default by K, you have the use skill glider. Just pick a button to use, and I don't have a glider right now, I can't show you, but you would just press shift 1 to use the glider, and that helps a lot because sometimes, especially as an archer, you're jumping. I don't know why. I just jump whenever I'm kiting. And so if I double tap it, or if I accidentally hit it, my spacebar on this keypad is pretty sensitive. So if I accidentally tap it once, it might tap it twice by accident if I do it quick enough. And then I'll be in a glider and it can mess me up. So that's just something you can do. That's personal preference, but I would suggest getting used to using a keybind other than double tap. Now, something that, or also suggest a skill deployment location. That makes it where you can click on something and then wherever you like hover your mouse. So say for God's Whip, say if you have it on R, and wherever you're hovering your mouse and you press R, it will cast it there. You don't have to R and then click, R then click, R then click, R then click. I highly suggest that for mages. So it's just basically like an instant cast if you've ever played League. Now, I would suggest turning off camera shake effects because they're just annoying. You can also turn off quest dialogue close-ups to have like going through quests a little bit faster. It doesn't go like all the way in there into their like face in the zoom in. Another one is if you're never going to use the optimization mode, hide the optimizer button. Now, if you're having performance issues, use that optimizer button. It helps. It doesn't look the best, but it helps. Another thing you can do is functionalities where you turn off the chat filter. Now shortcuts, I highly suggest turning on all 4 shortcut bars, which I will show you here in a second. Let me reset my keys. Let's see. Alright, let's reset the keys. All the keys are reset. So this is what the normal bar will look like whenever you get it. Now if you go into character controls, what I suggest doing is, I don't personally do this just because I'm used to it now, but what most people do is that they change the move left and move right to A and D instead of the turn.
So what that will do is that whenever you press A and D now, it will move to left and right instead of turning. But the reason why I personally just use the defaults of turn, because if you hold down right click on your mouse and then turn with your mouse, you can do it like that, which that's what I'm just used to after playing ArcheAge for years without changing it. So that's just my personal preference, but I suggest if you're new, changing the move left and move right to A and D. Now for the game keybinds, these are something that you want to change if you want to. I personally suggest changing them to something closer to your keys. These are the glider buttons to boost your glider, flip it, whatever, as well as for like items that you're holding, just things like that. And so ours a pretty good one. I personally have mine as V and C and then middle mouse. And that just, it's easier to use instead of having to reach halfway across the keyboard. As well, these can overlap with your skill bars, because whenever you're on a glider, you can't use skills. So these can overlap. So don't worry about finding ones that you haven't used before. Those can overlap with anything. Now for the open bag, I just use G. And then for the character info, I use H. Now, these are my keybinds for the skill bars. These are just the ones I use. I did not mean to do that. Now, like I said, you don't have to use the ones I use. These are just the ones I do because they are easiest for me. Now I do have what I have is a Corsair, a Razer Orbweaver, and that is something that is easy for me to press Alt with. So that's why I'm doing these to Alt, and you can do Control with them if you want to. So it's all up to what you want to do. I also have a couple mouse keybinds that I use. These are just something that you want to feel that are better for you and that you can get used to. And then now for the last thing I'm going to go over is the UI. So if you didn't know, you can move your UI. So with the questing, you can just hover over something like any piece of UI, hold shift, and then you can drag it. So I usually like to have quest right around there. I usually like having a small map. But if you, one big tip I can show you in, okay, why is my wide view not working? Okay, I am in wide view. Okay, that's why. Accidentally unbinded the zoom out. Remember, if you accidentally unbind anything, you're gonna have to rebind it. But say if I click on someone, what I suggest, and a lot of many other people suggest, is having health bars next to your character like this, just because you're mostly focusing on your character. Especially if you're an archer, if you're waiting for someone to jump on you, you're mostly focusing on your character. So you want to have your health bars in line of sight. As well as what I like to do is I just have my UI nice and neat and compact in the bottom. Have my skills, have most of my skills in the middle. I'm just doing this really quick so I don't take up too much time. I hope this isn't already taking up too much time. I'm trying to make my video shorter. So all you want to do is just figure out what works for you. You can honestly have these up here if you want to. It's just mostly what you want to do. But to move the skill bars, you want to hold shift, and where it has that little rotate, you just want to hold shift and then click and drag that little black bar on the edge, and then you can drag that. You can also rotate these, so you can do that. And the last thing, you can also move chat. Just hover over a tab, so like on all, and you can do that. And in the top right corner, you can drag it and resize it how you want to. Other than that, guys, I just want to show you something quick, some tips for people who have never played an MMO before, never played ArcheAge or anything like that can help you out. Other than that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a thumbs up, comment what you guys thought, as well as subscribe. I'm going to be making tons more ArcheAge Unchained content. I have tons going out. I just need to record it all. Tons of ideas that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. So other than that, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will catch you in the next video.